take some time, but I'll consider. I don't want to like force myself to grow up. I have the rest of, this is the thing, my mindset is I have the rest of my life to be a lady. Like, seriously. And I don't mean that I need to like go and be the biggest hoe around like now, but I just mean that I don't want to force myself because society says, because my favorite YouTubers say, because my parents say. I don't want to force myself to grow up before my time. Like, the first boy band phase I went through was when I was 17, and I was boy band crazy, and I had my posters and everything. Like, it happened late for me. I was a late bloomer. When I lost my virginity and I had my first boyfriend, like, it was some cheesy shit. And like, yeah, some of it was cringe, maybe cringe for my age, but again, like, I wouldn't change. Like, that happened at the right time, the way that it needed to. And like, sometimes lovingly I will look at myself like I am a child, not as in to treat myself like a child or like say I literally am one, but as in like I'm growing and I'm blossoming and I'm gonna have my own pace and my own timeline, and I don't want to ever hold a gun in my head. And like, it's not about not taking responsibility for my life, but it's about being patient with myself and letting myself experience what I need to experience. And if that means I don't want to be in a relationship for the next 5 years, I won't be in one. Like, if I feel like I can't handle the responsibility of it, I'm not gonna be out here saying, okay, who wants to like wife me up? Like, no, like, I'm not gonna force myself to feel something I don't feel, to grow up and be a lady or be a mature, high value. Like, I'm not gonna force that process. I think like when the time is right for me, it'll happen. There are plenty of people, you know, that would like say things. I get it, like, the influence is there. The influence is there. I have members of my family that are very like classy, and you know, I see it. And I'm sure I'll create my own version of that, but I gotta go through it and I gotta do it at my own pace. I'm not gonna do it when it's inauthentic to me, because I'm gonna be miserable. I don't want to look back and be like, oh, but I didn't ever like let my hair down, or I didn't have a few crazy times, or I have no stories to tell the kids. Or not that it's about that, but it's just I want to go at my own pace and sow my wild oats in my way for myself. And I really think, like, you know, because for a minute, like I always said about how I was drinking and everything, and I didn't used to. A lot of stuff that I didn't do or I did do was based off of my family's beliefs, my parents' beliefs, what they taught me at school. And I honestly feel like in life, you are yourself at birth. Pardon me. You come in with your nature. You experience your nurture. So you've got your nature and your blueprint for your life, the destiny, everything you need to learn. Then you experience your nurture and you've got your karma and everything. And things are being printed onto you. Like, you're being turned into a stamp, if you will. And then what happens is you go out and you sort of start stamping onto different things, basically experimenting, putting yourself, like, projecting all of this karma and this stamping. I don't know. Basically, you put your brand. I don't know, not that. But like, you go out and you test things and you feel things out and you see how different things look for you. And like, say I can meet someone, I put my stamp on them, and they don't like what I'm doing. It's a reflection of something like that. When I say stamp, it's like, say the stamp was like of a heart and I put that on someone. Not the heart isn't the important part, but like, it would be because in my childhood somebody basically, like, whatever childhood trauma, whatever, you relive it, right? So there's that. And then the same goes for like life lessons, and I need a better analogy, but things like that, where you learn stuff and you go out and you express that, you express what you've learned, and then you go through the phase of actually asking yourself, is this true for me or not? Is this true for me or not? And I think that so many people don't ever get to that point. When they do, it's like when they're a lot older. And I'm not afraid to have the same beliefs as my parents. That's not my problem. What I'm afraid of is just blindly accepting them just like that, without even taking the opportunity to get to know myself and like test out their beliefs for myself in this world, in this current time, in the environment that I exist in or wish to exist in. So I feel like it's a sort of, you come in as yourself. As you are nurtured, you go into a direction or different directions of what the world around you requires you to be or shapes you into. And then you go and you express that and you maintain that and you squiggle some more. And then after that, it's a sort of refining and it's a culling, and you sort of become this like amalgamation. It's a sort of, I guess, that, if you will. I don't know what the fuck is going on in my head. But like, it's an amalgamation of who you were at birth initially, and then your story, everything that happened, and then who you sort of became as a result of that, and then you just coming back to yourself, your core, truest, sort of even raw, or like, not even raw, not raw, succulent self. Like, that sounds so weird, but like, let's say you come in raw, you're being seasoned, and then by the end, you're like marinated. You're like, you're marinating and you're cooked. It's like, you know when you eat like some meat that's like really, really, really tender, so it's like slow cooking. You know the work's been put in. That's some quality right there. Did I just compare us to meat? That's weird. So like, basically this is my phase where, I say phase, like 20s, like maybe teens, 20s, 30s, where I go out into the world and I test everything I've learned about myself, about the world around me, about life, and I see if it's true for me or not. And sometimes that means you do swing to the other end. If I've been growing up with very conservative values, which I haven't really, but like a little bit, say I grew up with that, maybe, yeah, for a minute I will go to the other extreme because I haven't experienced that. I don't know what that looks like. I want to see myself in that environment. If it works for me, maybe I need to live in that environment for a little bit. And I have full faith that I will probably come back to this. And I think and this is actually quite normal with children, what happens is like parents will, especially like in stricter, like, or culturally more strict households, they won't let their kids have that messy time. They won't let their kids have that discovery time, that exploration time, because they want to keep control. They want to maintain values and everything. But it's like, you don't understand. Those values are there. Sometimes they're just hidden. Sometimes they need to be rediscovered. And that's the thing. Like, I embrace that about myself. And I love that about myself. I love that I embrace that, because I think that I had a lot in my environment setting me up to not embrace that. And I did feel guilty about it, but I'm not going to feel guilty about it because it's my life. And I understand myself enough to know that, look, I'm not out here doing class A drugs. I don't need to go that far. I don't need to see myself in that environment. If somebody else wants to, I guess that's their choice. I'd rather, like, for them, I hope that they wouldn't do that because it's like dangerous, but whatever, like, you I guess know your situation. I'm not gonna judge. I don't care. Like, I mean, I care because it's drugs, but like, whatever, right now it doesn't matter. But like, the extremes that I do go to, of course I'm gonna fuck up. Of course I'm gonna fuck up along the way. That's like life. Like, you're gonna fuck up regardless of what you do, whether you behave yourself or not. And so I embrace the messiness. I embrace the growing pains. I embrace the awkward times, because there is gonna be a time where, you know, especially the fact that I want to have kids and that I want to be not working a boring 9 to 5, but like, I guess what I'm trying to say, working a mundane life with zero responsibility, or like limited responsibility, or I don't have a lot of creative control and stuff like I know that one day I'm going to be in a position of responsibility, and I'm going to have to think in a more mature way, and I'm excited for that, and I want to be her. But in order to be her, I have to be me. I have to be this version of me right now. And I'm not going to apologize for that. Like, any person who's successful, ask them if they would go back and change their story, truly. Because it's their story that made them who they are. And I'm not saying that going out and hooking up with people is my story. No, that's not even a fucking cherry on. It's not, that's not the part, that's not the point. But the going out and seeing how I interact with people, seeing how my self-esteem is expressed in different scenarios, what I do and do not accept, the people I allow into my life, allow into my body, you know, substances, it's everything. Like, being able to witness yourself through different phases and different environments, even if they're extreme and alternate to what people expect of you, it allows you to know yourself on a deeper level in a way that you couldn't have if you just stayed doing what everybody wanted you to do, doing the good girl, well-behaved shit. I guess you could describe it like, I haven't seen Grease in a long time, but how Sandy goes, like, she starts out as that like cutesy girl, and then she goes through that sort of like, she has that sort of change, and obviously they like change her at the end, but like the both of them, like her and Danny, they sort of like they're integrated. And I think that it's not just your shadow side, but it's like, I guess you could say that it's like you meet the sides of you that aren't necessarily attractive, whether it be to you, to other people. Meet that. You don't have to be that. You don't have to be that all the time. But when you've met it, you know what it is. You know what it feels like. You know what your limits are. And you can then make an informed decision about what is right for you. And that is empowerment, I think. Because when you can't make an informed decision, I don't think that's much of a decision at all. It's like loyalty. It's like saying, yes, I'm loyal to something, but you don't even fully have any other options. If you don't have any other options, that's not exactly loyalty. You know, that's just having no other options. It's having no choice. Similarly with this, it's like, how do you know that this is truly your identity, the one that you choose to show up with, if you haven't explored the other side of it? And I think, like, for me, I had this conundrum a bit when I was deciding how warm I wanted to be as a person in customer service, because I've been raised with Indian hospitality and I was aware of first-class hospitality as well, and it was a hard decision because I was like, being more cold and approaching customer service through the lens of what's normal in British culture would definitely help me with self-preservation, but would it get me far? I don't know. And so I tested both out and I realized that I was more fulfilled. Actually, so I went the fully warm way and I gave everything to my job and everything to my customers, but I ended up depleted. And then I came back and I didn't ask anybody how they were, and I didn't, you know, care so much. I still did my job well, but the customer service there, I wasn't as warm. I was more stingy with things. I went the more like British culture way, but I didn't feel like myself. And it was through bouncing between those extremes that I managed to find my own sense of equilibrium. And I think that that's kind of where I am. I've bounced between the extremes and now I'm finding my own sense of equilibrium. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk. I should go and get ready for my evening. Oh man. Oh, I don't want to go out. Maybe I'll just join them later. Okay.